populations?
I started Airlabs when I was pregnant with Donica, and I was researching what I could do to have a healthier pregnancy. Every mum wants to do the best for their child, and realised how air pollution was impacting his health even in the womb from the earliest stages. And I realised there was no technology that could help protect him, that could clean the effects of nitrogen dioxide. So I co-founded Airlabs, my chief scientist, who's a professor of chemistry, atmospheric chemistry, at the University of Copenhagen. And we developed the first solution to clean nitrogen dioxide from there, as well as all other urban pollutants inside the car.
I had no idea that you could be really seriously affected inside the vehicle, because what you do, of course, is you roll up the windows, you maybe switch off the outside source air supply, so you're recycling the air in the car. But I didn't know that was already dangerous.
Well, if you think about it, the air intake for your car is really close to the exhaust of the car in front of you, especially in traffic. And the main source of pollution in London is from our traffic. So what you find is that there's very high levels on the pavement, as we know from the monitoring stations, but the levels inside your car are on average 21% higher. And we've recorded limits 10 times the legal limits inside cars, and especially worse in traffic, worse in tunnels. So the air inside your car, people think they're protected because they have a particulate filter, but the gases pass straight through that and into your lungs.
Right. Well, those are pretty depressing figures and quite worrying figures. Now, if we can persuade Donica to let us have a look at this device, I'll try and describe it briefly. We'll put a picture on our website as well, if we may. Essentially, it looks like a long tube. Happy birthday. Whose birthday is it?
It's Donica's very soon. He's almost 3.
Excellent. Okay, so we've got a tube that looks, it's about what?
About 30 centimetres long.
30 centimetres long.
And about 10 centimetres diameter.
Okay, and it's out of grey moulded plastic. How did you make this?
This is our prototype. This was 3D printed, and we're currently raising money on Kickstarter to do the first big manufacturing run of the full-time units.
And when you're in the car, this device is plugged into
your cigarette lighter, and it fits as a leather strap that fits around your headrest.
Okay, so the tube, the grey tube, sits behind my headrest, as in front of the rear passenger, if there is one. What's it doing?
What happens is we draw the dirty air through the middle of the unit, and you can see we've got a cover over it, but you can actually see the filter inside.
Okay, just pulling back a kind of grey sock that's over it, and underneath there's a grey plastic mesh, and then under that, well, it looks like a vacuum cleaner filter inside.
That is the filter for the particles, and then the filter for the gases is actually inside the unit at the sides. So the dirty air comes into the middle of the unit, and we have 2 inbuilt fans, and it's pushed out through the sides of the unit. These are designed by our airflow engineering team so that the air circulates around the car, and both the driver, the front seat passenger, and the children in the back seat are all breathing that clean air.
How dirty an air supply can it cope with? Could it cope in Delhi?
Absolutely. So we've tested at very, very high levels of pollution, and we find very consistently over 95% removal of particles, over 95% removal of nitrogen dioxide. What the difference would be in Delhi is you'd need to change the filter a little bit more often. And our goal really is to integrate into car systems. So we're in talks with a couple of car manufacturers at the moment, because what we want to do for their new cars is increase the size of the filter, and we can put it directly into the ventilation system, and then people have the clean air from the start.
Thanks to Sophie Power, with commentary from Donica as well. Just checked, if you go to your search engine, just write Airbubbl, all one word but without an E on the end of bubble, it'll take you to the Kickstarter page. It shows you the amazing gizmo right there. Yuan, sounds pretty cool.
Yes, that's right. I think, though, in the end, what I'd like to see is that there's no pollution from the outset, that you don't even need to filter out, and that will come when countries such as China and India have already done pledged to stop the production of gas and diesel cars and move completely to electric vehicles, and then we can get the Airbubbl can be our streets.
Yeah, the Airbubbl will be our streets. That's a fantastic logo. In the meantime, however, Ralph, I guess everybody is looking for, protection devices one way or another. This looks like a handy option.
It sure does, but after listening to that, I want to hold my breath every time I get into a car. It's a little dangerous. I agree. We have to take care of the pollution environment, and then the car shouldn't be a problem. But I'm wondering why this isn't standard in every car. I'm wondering why this isn't legislated, at least in first world countries, to be put in every car, because that makes a lot of sense and it could have great health benefits if everyone had it.
Had you ever even? I must admit, I was totally floored by the statistics when she was saying, how much it creeps in, despite what we think we're doing with the mechanics of the vehicle.
Oh my! I had no idea. In fact, I'm kind of hoping I didn't know this, because every time I get into a car now, I'm going to start thinking about it. I was completely naive to all this. This is information that I think the car manufacturers are trying to hide, and I think it needs to get out. So
who is going to reach Yuan's sort of dream scenario first? It sounds like Canada is well placed, perhaps also blessed by geography, because we're hearing from Rahul that it makes a huge difference where you sit. Mexico City's in a bowl. Beijing has its geographic disadvantages, hence the construction of satellite cities, etc.
Well, I think Canada is placed in a very great place. First of all, we're a huge country. We're not all packed together, other than the city of Toronto and Montreal and Vancouver. Everywhere else, it's kind of open. And I think this is an incredibly important thing. We have lots of money.
Exactly.
And I think the amount of investment that's put into this is directly proportional to the amount of time it's going to take to get clean. And I think Canada is very willing to do that. But I think other first world countries should also get there just as quickly.
Well, listen, thank you both very much indeed. It's been a pleasure having you with us. Ralph Silver from Toronto, Yuan Yangs with the FT in Beijing. Lots of food for thought through the hour. News next here on the BBC. Oliver Conway and the desk team ready to bring you news on the hour here at BBC World Service. We'll be back tomorrow.